Hello everyone and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our June 20th, 2022 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including the fact that I do have a cold. It's not COVID, it's not the flu, so don't worry, you're not going to catch anything. We're going to get through our tribute to Tim Sale, who sadly passed away. We're going to be talking about... Nice, Michael. Thank you very much.
I'm not taking any chances.
What, 3,000 miles between us or whatever it is not enough? God, it's taking social distancing to a real extreme. We're going to be talking about comic books, the solicitations for September, tomorrow night's new episode of Superman and Lois, and so much more. And to let you know how all that works and how you can get involved in tonight's show, germ-free, my friend Michael Bailey is joining us tonight to let you know how all that works. Hey, Michael, how are you?
I'm doing a little better than you. It's just hot, as Mind the Gap was talking about in the chat. But they're not here to hear us bang on about how we're hot or not feeling well. They want to hear us talk about Superman, because Superman Homepage Live is all about Superman and the ever-evolving nature of this show. You getting involved has changed recently. There used to be this whole thing about Skype, and I would make a joke about tin cans and string and all that. Nope. Just go to supermanhomepage.com/live and press the call now button. Or you can take out your smartphone and scan the QR code that's right on the screen there and get into the same thing. It's really simple. You just hang out there until we're ready to bring you in, and then we bring you in.
Yeah, and you get into a green room and everything where you can watch the show and still hear the show. It's not like you can't call in and be part of and still listen on. It's all pretty simple and pretty straightforward. But let's get into tonight's topic. Before we do, I want to thank our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt and Tina Murray. And if you want to get involved in the show, there's comments as well. If you don't want to be a caller on YouTube, we invite you to participate in the comments there. Michael and I will keep an eye on the comments and questions that you might pose, and we'll get to those as the show goes along. But if you'd like your question or comment featured on the screen during the show, that's called a super chat. All you have to do is click the dollar symbol there. A slider will appear on your screen. You decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate, and we'll feature your comment or question on the screen as we go to air. There's super chats, super thanks, super stickers. You can get all those things up on the screen as part of tonight's show. And as I said, if you want to be a sponsor of the show, there's also a join button below where you can become a sponsor or patron, patreon.com/Superman homepage. Well, Mike, it's always movie stuff that we like to start with. And while there isn't any real new movie news out there at the moment surrounding Superman, there was an interesting video that was put up by Movies Insider showing the behind-the-scenes footage on how flying effects have developed over the years, starting as far back as the 1950s with the George Reeves TV series, and then going into how things have developed with the Zoptic camera system that was created for Superman the movie, how they've now used blue screen, then green screen, and digital effects and CGI. It's a really interesting video that they put together. I'm just going to play a little bit of that here and then get your take on all this.
To get this ultra-smooth flying shot from 2021's WandaVision, you'll see that the show's stunt team relied on a complex wire setup. Wires in superhero movies and shows aren't new, but they've gotten a lot more sophisticated since the genre's reset in 2000's X-Men. But you can really see just how realistic Hollywood flying scenes have become by going all the way back to the 1950s.
Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Back then, many of Superman's earliest flying stunts were low-tech. To take off from the ground, actor George Reeves would jump off a springboard that was either just off camera or hidden by objects in the frame. And for shots when Superman would land through a window, he would simply climb up a ladder and jump down, with a foam mattress to cushion his falls. But early Hollywood stunt work was not known for its safety standards. Active flying...
So yeah, there's just a bit of the video of the old George Reeves thing, and then they go on to the Christopher Reeve and then Man of Steel as well, included in this really cool little video that they've put together by Movies Insider on YouTube. You can check it out on our website.
Yeah, I mean, I know I appreciate that they didn't poke too much fun at the George Reeves thing, because that was groundbreaking at the time. You know, kids that grew up in the 50s and 60s, they totally bought it.
Yeah.
And I know because I've talked to a bunch of them.
Yeah.
You know, it's just yes, he's laying on a glass table and they're pitching him, and yeah, some of the takes of him on the wires didn't look as good. But it was the best they had. I mean, those shows had a budget of like $1.50 and like 2 canned goods. So it's not like they had a lot to work with. And nowadays, everything is so much more sophisticated because of the trailblazing that they did in Superman the movie. It's another thing I think that is gotten completely forgotten about that film is the flying effects in that movie were revolutionary. They were the things that sold that movie to the mass audience because it did look like he was flying
Yeah.
in many of the shots. So it's just, I liked seeing how they do it, like on WandaVision, though. That I never knew what that rig looked like actually, but
Yeah.
that's I mean the way she takes off, it just looks so smooth.
It does.
I think it's also a little unfair to the jumping, you know, like the super leaps, I guess,
Yes.
that like Captain America and they do. I think that's a little, yeah, it's wire work, but it's not flying. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too picky there.
So yeah, it's really interesting to see the development of the flying effects over the years and how, you know, some of those rigs have developed. You know, wire work was obviously incorporated early in the George Reeves TV series until one of them broke, and he was like, you know, Peter Pan flies on wires, Superman doesn't.
Yeah.
And so from there on in, it was just, you know, that pan that they created for him to be able to do the flying effects, which is still being used in some capacity today. But yeah, it's really interesting to look behind the scenes and how this stuff has developed over the years. So really impressed with that video that they've put together. So yeah, well done to... what have I done there? Back to live mode. Here we go. Some comments. Mark saying you used to be able to follow the chat, the comments on the full screen, but can't seem to do that anymore. Is it just me, or is it no longer available? I'm just looking into that, Mark. I don't know why maybe that's not the case. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the comments.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Actually, so
it might just be something personal for Mark. A super chat thanks to John Patrick Van Pelt saying the Flash movie is it now not coming out in summer 2023 due to Ezra Miller's legal issues, and what does this mean for the two Fantastic Beasts by Warner Brothers? Look, this is a Superman show. Obviously, we don't really follow much about, especially the Harry Potter stuff. But Ezra Miller is obviously having some issues, personal issues, legal issues. There's been a lot of talk and speculation about the Flash movie, whether or not Warner Brothers will, you know, how they're going to be dealing with Ezra Miller's issues off screen, and how that'll impact the release of the film. There's people calling for him to be replaced. That seems unlikely considering everything's been filmed. Yes, they can do this certain special effects, but I don't see that happening. You can always separate what an actor has been doing off screen and what they do on screen. Doesn't necessarily have to impact whether, you know, it's not like he's, say, like, I don't know, has he offended that many people with his off screen antics that people will stop going to see the film because of him? I don't know. I think Warner Brothers are weighing up these options.
I honestly think the general audience doesn't even know what's going on.
Most of them
we're
wouldn't
in the
know.
bubble.
Yeah.
So, you know, on social media, you know, it's every day I see something about it. Either people calling for Grant Gustin to get cast as the character, or them to the reshoots, and people like defending him and not defending him, and is he grooming 12-year-olds? You know, it is it's a problem for Warner Brothers, but I don't think it's the problem people think it is.
Yeah.
I think people are going to see like a Flash movie with Michael Keaton as Batman, and they're going to want to go see it. In all honesty, and I think if you replaced him, I don't think the general audience would care, because again, the Flash isn't. I think all of these characters are replaceable at this point. with as many times as they recast stuff
Yeah.
on the DC,
Yeah.
especially on the DC side of thing. I think it's a little more complicated for Marvel because those actors tend to stay. But with DC films, there was 4 Batman films between 1989 and 1997, and there was 3 guys playing Batman.
Yep.
And I don't remember that affecting the box office one bit. So, I think it's a film that people will want to see. Now, I'm glad they're giving it room away from Spider-Man, No Way Home, and the Multiverse of Madness. Because I think if you released Flash now, like all anybody would be talking on Twitter is how DC is trying to copy what Marvel is doing.
Yeah.
Not realizing that DC is the one that kind of staked out the claim of a multiverse decades ago. But that's none of my business.
Michael F. Ballack saying, isn't the Flash movie supposed to reset the DCEU? That's the rumor and speculation. Because of creating a multiverse or investigating the multiverse in this film, there is that opportunity then for them to be able to do many different variations of actors or characters from the DC universe in different forms or fashion, because of the fact that they're delving into the whole idea of a multiverse. So it allows them that opportunity to have multiple Supermen on the screen, multiple Batmen on the screen, multiple Flashes or what have you, without people getting too confused or worrying about which one is the real one, because they can all be real considering the multiverse is real.
Yeah, like in the multiverse, there's a world where I'm Australian and Steve's American.
Yep.
It's just possible.
Why
that
not?
joke fell flat.
We're
just going to move on.
Like a flat Earth kind of, yeah. But also on the movie side of things, there was a fan film that last week was brought to my attention. Andrew List from A-List Productions is putting together a fan film. Did we talk about this last week, or was it?
I think we mentioned something about this
Superman
last week.
Solar. It's a fan film that's coming out. Indiegogo.com if you want to help fund this Superman fan film project. So get out there and check that out if you want. Another super chat from John Patrick Van Pelt. I thought the big question segment was no longer a thing as why is it still up on the Superman homepage website? Yeah, the big question is no longer part of our show. We won't be doing that monthly segment. I haven't removed the page yet. John's keeping me on, point as far as making sure I remove things. If you don't go looking for it, it's not there. It's not necessary. I will get around to removing it. But we no longer do the big question segment of our show. That was our last one at the end of last month. But we do have the Super Secret Soundbite continuing on, and we'll do that segment next week when we return to that monthly segment at the end of the month. So thank you, John, for reminding me to remove that page. All right, some attendees at Superman celebrities attending Smallville Con. Now, if you haven't heard of Smallville Con, it is a convention that takes place at the Kansas State Fairgrounds. It'll be taking place, or took place actually, June 18th to 19th. Jack O'Halloran was there, as was Mariel Hemingway, who played Lacey Warfield in Superman 4. Saw a lot of fans posting photos of this convention around about the place. Hopefully you got out there and were able to check out those two celebrities and get your photos with them. Jack is always a great person to meet at conventions. He's always got a lot of time for his fans, and by all accounts, people had a pretty good time there.
I'm glad. It seems like everybody's having a good time at these conventions now.
Yeah, now that conventions are back on and people are feeling safe about getting to them, it's always really good to be able to get out and about and cross paths with fans. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend Supernova, the convention here in Sydney, over this past weekend. I had Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling were there, and I was sick as a dog, so I was unable to get out and about to attend Supernova this year. I was there last year on the Saturday and met a lot of great people and made a few interviews and took some photos and stuff. But I hadn't bought a ticket. I was hoping to get out there, but because of this man flu, I was curled up in bed. But
A man
supposedly
flu.
that's what they call it. Don't you have that term in America?
I've never heard it.
Okay,
But, you know,
so the whole idea of a man
I'll
flu
go
is
with
that we go, that men just go down really badly with a cold, and so
we do tend to become whiny. That is very true. My wife will back you
we'll
up when I'm
attest, yeah.
sick. I tend to be a little whiny too.
So yeah, a head cold for a guy compared to a woman who will just battle through anything. We call it man flu because we just go down like a ton of bricks and, as you say, become whiny babies. So yeah, there you go. I've just introduced a new term to you guys there in the States. Man flu. You can take it. I'll give it to you for free.
Yeah, and in 30 years, it'll be part of Lex Luthor II's vernacular in the comics because they always want to stay, that far away from current Australian slang.
Mark Lax reckons it's only men in Australia. So, well, Michael has just kind of backed me up that when he gets sick, he gets, he goes down and becomes a bit of a whiny baby too. So there you go.
Just say, I'm a man enough to admit that.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Look, we have a new episode of Superman and Lois. Finally, yes, once again, they took a bit of a break. And the new episode is titled, what's it titled? World's War Bazaar. Yeah, that's it. World's War Bazaar. It's the 14th episode of Season 2. A reminder, here's the trailer.
Clark?
I'm not getting better. The world needs my help, and I'm, what, just taking a sick day?
If she can do that to Superman, what chance do the rest of us have?
You are more than just your powers. It's because of your heart. Be Superman.
So there you have it. That's the trailer for World's War Bazaar, the penultimate episode of Season 2. So this episode will then lead into the finale, which will air next week on the 27th for you guys? No, 28th.
28th.
So 2 more episodes for Season 2 to conclude. What are you looking forward to most in this one, Michael?
Clark dealing with his man flu. He's apparently not feeling well. No, I'm just, it's the last 2 episodes of the season, so everything's going to go completely to hell in this one, and then they'll overcome it in the next one. They've got they've only got a season track record, but the last season ended very well, so I'm looking forward to just seeing how long Clark is powerless. And some of the pictures that they've released look kind of cool. They've got the Lana from the Bizarro Alana, like facing off against Jordan, and I'm just like, okay, so what's that all about? So I'm just 2 more. I'm not ready to let it go yet. I'm kind of sad that it's only 2 more. It's why everyone's been complaining about the hiatuses, and I'm like, no, it extends everything. I'm fine with that.
Because Season 3, while it has been announced, is not going to happen until, the beginning of next year.
Yeah, it's going to be January or February of next year. So it's like last year. We had the same thing happen. I'm hoping that means that maybe some of the stars can come to DragonCon again. That's selfish, but it's fair because I see everybody else getting to meet them, and I was too chicken last year. So I have been told by several people that they're going to frog march me over there if it takes that.
Very good.
So, but yeah, no, I like how this season has progressed, and they're delivering some really solid Superman stories, and the fact that we've got another season just makes me even happier.
The season finale is just Mind the Gap saying you wish it was a 2-hour finale, but it's just this normal episode. This is kind of the whole issue, I guess, I have with these shortened seasons that we are now getting as a norm for network television, is that they are 10 to 15 episodes long. A normal season used to be 22, 23 episodes. Now we're down to 10, 12, 15 episodes for most seasons. Some are even just 6 episodes long. I watched The Time Traveler's Wife on HBO, and it's just 6 episodes for a complete season. And then you have to wait so long because you only have a shortened amount of episodes per season. There's a lot. We're spoilt for choices as far as what is available for us to watch on television these days with streaming services left, right, and center. Back in the day, you had to wait years between Star Wars movies. Now you got a Star Wars series coming out pretty much every 6 months. Mm-hmm. But are we looking at a problem there with only limited episodes per season? Is that an issue, do you think, moving forward?
No, I don't, and the reason why is this is how British television has been for quite some time now. You have shows like Sherlock and Doctor Who, and these genre shows especially that do a certain number of episodes, and then it's like a year between series, as they call them over there. And I think it's just we're now network television as the model is dying. And it's dying because more and more people are not watching shows network. I mean, I don't watch Superman and Lois as it airs on the CW. I'd like to, but I'm still got a half hour at work most weeks when it comes on because they changed it at 8:00. So I watch it the next day on the CW, and I kind of like that because then it's a convenience. Then I get to just watch it when I want to watch it, which is usually my lunch break the next day. So I think what this is going to do is it's going to give us better television.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to have as much time to tell the story, so they're going to break it down, and everything is going to be important.
Yeah.
And I felt this way since like watching the Marvel shows on Netflix. Daredevil was only like 10 episodes, but man, they packed a lot in there. And even then, sometimes it felt a little padded. So I think what you're going to lose are the goofy one-off episodes that they do to like take a breather.
The filler episodes.
When done right, a filler episode is fun. I got called out at a convention once. When I was doing a panel with Rebecca of Supergirl Radio, and I said something about filler episodes, and somebody raises their hands like, "Well, I like the filler episodes," proving if you are going to complain about anything, there is going to be somewhere in the audience that completely disagrees with you on that, and that's fine. But I think for a show like this, I'd rather have 15 good episodes of a Superman show than have 22 to 23 episodes where most of them are good.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. I mean, Smallville, there were some clunkers throughout, in the season. So I just think when you're forced to fill that much time, I think it hurts the show more than it helps it. But more than anything, like I said, we're just not. This is just how it's going. This is the evolution of entertainment.
Yeah, indeed. No, I'm with you. I can understand that, and I guess because we have so much to watch that we will be willing to wait until early 2023 to be able to catch Superman and Lois episodes again. And I'm like you. I watch Superman and Lois when it suits me. The interesting thing here is that Fox 8, which is a channel that it's on here in Australia, you can stream them at any time you want on the TV using the Foxtel box or through your app. And the streaming availability, which completely removes all the commercials, is available like an hour or a half hour before the actual airing of the episode, so you can watch it commercial free before it even airs on TV, which is kind of odd. But I always stream it myself and watch it when it suits me, and I think that's the way to go these days. So, new episode of Superman and Lois tomorrow night. Cannot wait. Waiting, with bated breath for that one. Looking forward to seeing how they push through to the finale for these final 2 episodes of season 2. All right, we're almost at the halfway point of the show for our half-time break. So I'm just going to play some messages now, and then we're going to come back on the other side of these messages to talk about the late, great Tim Sale, who passed away this past week. We'll be back right after these messages.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/supermanhomepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer, the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
This Superman movie is brought to you by Canon, the world's leading camera manufacturer.
Quick and happy.
Canavision 8 camcorders.
I thought you were Superman, huh?
Hey, I am.
If it moves, shoot it with a cannon.
If it moves, shoot it with a cannon.
It's the first time I've heard that commercial.
Oh, there you go. All right. As I mentioned before the break, we lost another great artist in the world of comic books this past week. Geez, we've been losing some big names this year already. This time around, sadly, it's Tim Sale, who fans will probably know best. Superman fans, that is, will know best for his work on Superman for All Seasons, which was written by Jeff Loeb, and more recently the Superman Kryptonite collection of stories. Tim Sale has a style that was very unique to amongst comic book artists. His work was instantly recognizable. It wasn't necessarily a classic look, but it definitely had something special and unique about it.
Yeah, I remember back in '98 when For All Seasons came out. It took me like a minute to kind of get behind it. But once I did, because I had not read any of the Batman stories he had done, because him and Jeff Loeb previously had done, before For All Seasons, had done 3 Legends of the Dark Knight specials, and then they did The Long Halloween, which has now become like a evergreen trade. And then they were tackling Superman for was something ostensibly to celebrate his 60th birthday.
Yeah.
And according to Jeff Loeb, there were some people at DC that did not like Tim Sale's style. They referred to his Superman as a thumb with a costume, which is completely unfair because the man had such a dynamic style. One of my other favorite stories is he wanted to put his dog in the thing, in the story, and DC was just like, no. Clark's dog was named Rusty because that was what was in Man of Steel. So he just drew 2 dog balls. So there was 2 dogs. But and when he did Kryptonite, I think the thing that hurt that at the time was it was so late. But when you go back and look at both of those, it's such an elegant look at Superman's early career. And he drew a drop-dead gorgeous Lois Lane. I mean, the man just had a way of telling stories that just made you feel so much for the characters. The reason why Loeb wanted to work with him, because their first thing together was a Challengers of the Unknown miniseries from like 1990, 1991. And he wanted to work with Sale, Loeb did, because all the people in this graphic novel that Sale drew were ugly. So Tim Sale really was kind of in the Ditko school of artists, where his people looked real, stylized but real. And it's really sad that it's always sad when someone dies. I mean,
yes,
2 years old, 157. It's gonna affect people, but man, it just came out of nowhere. Like one day, it's just like everyone send positive thoughts to Tim Sale, and I'm like, what? Okay,
Yeah,
and then the next day he's gone.
Yeah,
and I put up on Facebook as my cover photo one of my favorite images, which is Superman hanging out with a polar bear, and Superman's like, yeah, me too. And it was just like, just for me that there's so many different Tim Sale Superman shots to choose from. The beautiful Superman the movie-esque full-page thing of Clark talking to Jonathan right before he leaves, or any of the full-page shots of Superman flying. But no, that's the one that gets me, because it's just got so much personality, and it's got a polar bear. And I met him twice, and he was very nice both times. Very busy. His line was always very long. But he just seemed like a good guy, and it's really sad that we keep losing these. I contacted a friend because we do a show together, and we usually like to do memoriam shows, and I'm like, look, I'm out of spoons for this. I can't.
Yeah.
We just lost Perez and Neil Adams. I don't have it in me to do another couple of episodes about another guy dying, and it's nothing against Tim Sale, and it's not that I don't want to remember him. It's just it's just too much.
Yeah, he was only 66. We still don't know the full detail as far as why that he passed away. What were the reasons? What he was ill with? We just knew that he'd been admitted to hospital with severe health issues, according to Jim Lee's posts on Twitter. And then, as he said, the next day we found out that he'd passed away with his loved ones by his side. And I don't know if there's been any further details as to what he was very ill with, but at only 66, it's pretty sad, and our condolences go out to his family and friends.
Absolutely.
You might also recognise his artwork from the TV series Heroes, where one particular, I guess you'd call a character within the show, had this ability to kind of see the future or see certain things happening, and would be painting, the painting of the cheerleader, and different scenes that would end up happening. That was their foresight, when their ability was to paint these images on canvas, and it was Tim Sale's artwork that was used as those paintings. So he wasn't just a comic book artist, he was also involved on the television side of things as well.
Probably made so much more money doing those paintings
indeed
than doing the comic book work.
Yeah, for
sadly.
Sure. So as I said, our condolences to his family and friends at the sad passing of Tim Sale. Alright, we're going to move on to the comic book side of the world of Superman now, and DC released their solicitations this past week for books coming out in September. We'll also get into the fan favourite segment and This Week in History, but I just want to touch on the September solicitations and get your take on some of these images that came out, Michael, for the Superman... What's it called? Well, he's returning to Earth after being in Warworld for a while. Action Comics 1047 in particular. So we've got him returning to Earth in a 6-part crossover with Superman Son of Kal-El, the epic conclusion to Warworld. What did you make of these images, Michael? I'll just grab them up here right now.
I mean that's a pretty striking image. World Apocalypse is it kind of looks like I think somebody online said that looks like something to be painted on like a van in the 70s.
Yes, very much so.
But that's not.
That was the look they were going
for.
No, that's the look they were going for.
Yeah. So it's just I'm. It's interesting. The story's coming to an end, which means it's going to be collected, which means I'm finally going to get to read it because I'm not paying $5 a chapter. I'm really just not. I'm sorry. I love you, DC, and I love you, Superman, but my wallet is screaming at me. But no, I'm really excited to get to it, and these covers have just been so dramatic. And then he's coming to back to Earth and having a big crossover. I think I'm kind of wondering how that's going to suss out with Dark Crisis, considering. Isn't he dead, technically?
Yeah, the Justice League all died in number 75. And, new Justice League coming. Yeah, I don't know how that all kind of meshes and how the timeline is going to work. But it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do there and how that kind of, if they put a little kind of panel underneath saying, this fits in between issue number 75 and what have you, or where it kind of fits in the timeline. But yeah, very striking images. There for the covers of this upcoming Superman World Apocalypse #1, which follows the events, which then Action Comics and the Superman Son of Kal-El issues will tie into. So Superman will return to Earth in a 6-part crossover in Action Comics 1047 to Action Comics 1049, and Superman Son of Kal-El 16 to 18. So yeah, big crossover between both main titles. Looking forward to that. Also coming out in September's solicitations, we also have Action Comics 1047, as I mentioned. This is, I think, variant cover maybe for that particular book. And reading the details for that, it says, where is it here? Action Comics 1047. In the aftermath of Superman's epic world revolution, the Man of Steel is back on Earth and stronger than he's ever been. As he and Steel join forces to remake Metropolis as a true city of tomorrow, two of Superman's most iconic villains take notice, and they have plans of their own. Meanwhile, Superman's meddling on Warworld has had unforeseen consequences. He's awakened an enemy so ancient and powerful, even this stronger than ever Superman will need the whole super family to face it. Introducing new characters and beginning this new chapter in Superman's mythology, don't miss out the kickoff to the countdown to Action Comics 1050. Yeah.
Are we really to 1050?
I know.
That's you're at 1,000. It's hard to really gin up interest in
another anniversary issue
thing. But
yeah, and then Superman Son of Kal-El #15 on the screen now. This is it, the ultimate battle pitting Superman and the forces of the truth against Bendix and his monstrous machinations has begun, but victory will be an uphill climb for our heroes as they lay siege to Gamora, plus the smooch heard round the world. Okay, so there you have it.
I'm very amused in the solicitation copy for the Action Comics #1 facsimile that it ends, "You will believe a man can fly," and I'm like, do you not have people look these over before you really? I mean, I know most people wouldn't care about it. It's only Superman fans that are like, well, actually, he didn't fly until such and such and such and such. But still,
yes,
I mean,
I know where you're coming from. All right, we're going to get into the fan favorite segment of our show. We do have a caller waiting on the line. We'll get to that person in a second, but let's get into the fan favorite segment. Okay, Michael, what was our fan favourite question from last week?
Who is your favorite Jimmy Olsen live-action actor? And JP Rocha writes in first. He says, my favorite Jimmy Olsen is Mark McClure.
And that's it. That's all he said.
That's it. That's the tweet. As the kids say.
Yeah, so thank you, JP, for that. Next up, we had Stephen Marshall, who said, when I had a good think about it, I realised I've liked all the Jimmy Olsen portrayals, yes, including dead CIA agent Olsen in Batman v Superman, but my favourite would have to be Sam Huntington from Superman Returns. While that film has its issues and nearly every portrayal in the film has something about it that doesn't quite work, the one character that film nails is Jimmy. He feels the most like the version from the comics that I love. It's just a shame he was only in one movie. How about a series having him star in a Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen series on HBO Max? I'd watch it. Yeah, interesting. Thanks, Stephen. He was very well
So,
cast.
funny thing about dead CIA agent Olsen, the guy that played him was on an episode of The OC.
Right, yes.
Where he played a guy that joins the comic book club and just totally defends Superman.
Oh, there you go.
His take isn't that good.
Okay.
But then you realize that the two people he's talking to is James Gordon from Gotham and the kid that was on like that episode of Smallville where he was the artist that loved Chloe, and now he's in the Shazam film. So basically what I'm saying is that everybody in Hollywood is going to end up in a comic book production at some
Pretty
point.
much.
Cubby wrote in. He says, I can't imagine anybody better than Jack Larson. He was fantastic all 6 seasons, especially in the first season when he was very young. I loved his interactions with Perry White. I love the fact that he was always Lois's accomplice. The only Jimmy Olsen that might have been better is the one from the Silver Age DC Comics.
Thank you, Cubby. We haven't heard from Cubby before, so it's great to have a new person send in an email. Thank you very much. All right, next up we had Alex Sequard, who said, none. For a long time I've loved Lois and Clark's Michael Landers and then Justin Whalen. When I saw Superman Returns, I thought Sam Huntington was brilliantly goofy and clever. Even in Smallville, Aaron Ashmore did a decent job. So this is why I said none, because I feel we are lucky to have constantly a good cast for Jimmy that endured time. Before that, I can't say the character of Jimmy was really developed live, so I'd say my favourites began in the 90s. Keep up the good work and cheers from France. Thank you, Alex. Wouldn't necessarily agree that he wasn't developed before the 90s, because I think Jack Larson did a very good job of playing Jimmy in the Adventures of Superman TV series in the 50s, as we've already heard. But I can appreciate you not having a favourite, because they're all pretty good.
Jason in Canada wrote, I will go with Jack Grimes from Superman 1966 animation as my favorite Jimmy Olsen. I love his squeaky enthusiasm, and gosh, Mr. Kent.
Yeah, we did ask for live action, but I'll let this one pass. I don't think Jack Grimes gets enough of recognition for his work as Jimmy Olsen in the animated series, but thank you, Jason from Canada. Next up, we had John P. Vanderpelt, who said, my favourite Jimmy Olsen live action actors are Mark McClure from Superman the Movie, Michael Landis from Lois and Clark, Aaron Ashmore from Smallville, and Mehcad Brooks from Supergirl. And I hope someday in the future seasons of Superman and Lois, I'd like to see what they would do with Jimmy Olsen and how they'd introduce him to their sons, Jonathan and Jordan Kent. And I wonder how that would play out on Superman and Lois on the CW. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see Jimmy rock up somewhere in Superman and Lois.
Going to be a little more complicated now that Mehcad Brooks has been cast for Law and Order.
Yeah.
That Anthony Anderson's leaving. So, and they're just trolling me now. I just feel like I love Law and Order to begin with, but casting Jimmy Olsen as one of the detectives. So much. Anyways, Michael Breen wrote in, for this week, Mark McClure always had a one-up on Perry. For the week with the towels, I'd like to include this. Here's a towel I've had for over 40 plus years. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's that.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you for responding to our previous one as well. All right, Ryan Ignatius Pratt said, my favourite live-action Jimmy Olsen would be that played by Justin Whalen. I think I connected with his version of the character back then, since it mirrored my own personality a bit. Justin's Jimmy also reminded me of the third Robin, Tim Drake, my second favourite character behind Superman, as written by Chuck Dixon, especially given the two characters' computer skills and personality traits. Very cool.
A thought I had this week, it was a weird one.
That's saying something for you.
Yeah, I know. That's shocking. But we're really getting into the point that the kids that grew up in the 90s are entering their 30s. And I think we're going to see now more of an appreciation for Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
Because the generation that was introduced to Superman through that show is now getting to be where like we were 10, 15 years ago. And part of me is just like, no, I don't want to get older. And part of me really doesn't want to have to keep going, yeah, it was okay, but it wasn't that good because, you know, all these people loved it.
Yeah.
So I think that Justin Whalen and Michael Landis are probably going to be getting some more love over the next like 10 or so years, because that's the generation that's coming up to do that kind of thing. I mean, just today they released a think piece about how Batman and Robin from 1997 is an underrated gem. So anything is possible, really.
Yeah. Very good. All right, Michael, what's our fan favorite question for this week for fans to respond to?
What is your favorite Superman team-up comic book story? That's a good one.
Well, Superman's teamed up with many different other characters across the generations of comic books that are out there. What's your favorite team-up story from the comics? Let us know. Get involved in the fan favorite segment of our show. Email address is there at the bottom of your screen, info@supermanhomepage.com. Let us know what your favorite team-up comic book story is between Superman and some other character, and we will feature those comments when we return to this segment next week. All right, let's get into your This Week in History, Michael.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bonds of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
It's so weird hearing that now. We're starting in 1942 with Action Comics number 51. See, we're almost at Action 1050. But no, we got a prankster issue, and boy, does he look just as goofy now as he did back then.
Yep.
So apparently this is the world's largest selling comic magazine. I wonder if that was true at that time. Going to 1952, we have Adventure Comics number 179, the world's wackiest inventions. And yeah, that man's about to crush that house. So I hope Superboy really does put a stop to this thing. Jumping ahead to 1962, we have a wrestling theme with Superman number 55, The Downfall of Superman, and another great Superman two-part novel, The Superman Under the Green Sun. Yeah, that's a pretty dramatic... he's breaking the rope. That's kind of weird. 1972, we have Justice League of America number 100, which was a JLA crossover that brought back the Seven Soldiers of Victory. So if you're enjoying the Stargirl TV show, just read this, because this is where a lot of those characters popped back up in the 70s. We also have Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen number 152. That's a weird-looking robot. And we have Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 125. Fun fact, every week when I send these to Steve, I will have to delete something because I write Superman's girlfriend, Jimmy Olsen. And that was never a title. So, yeah. 1982, we have Action Comics number 535, which is a continuation of the Superman Split in Half story, and this has a guest appearance by the Omega Men, which makes sense because Marv Wolfman created those characters and he was writing Action Comics at the time. We also have the New Adventures of Superboy number 33, which has a pretty dynamic cover on it, and a Dial H for Hero Extra, and World's Finest number 283 with the greatest villain of all time, Composite Superman. He's a guy with all the powers of the Legion of Superheroes, is half Batman, half Superman, but is Composite Superman, showing that at that time, Superman was more popular than Batman. 1992, Justice League America, number 65. This is the second part of the Starbreaker storyline. A really underrated run of Justice League too. Dan Jurgens did a really good job with that. There was another Justice League America book out this week, the annual number 6, which was part of the Eclipso Darkness Within storyline, and the second part of the Superman Tim Drake Robin team up. It happened in Superman number 70, which Night of the Bat. They're really trying to make you think that Batman's in this. But I loved these books. I remember buying them off the stands back in '92. I was going to the shop every week because I actually had a job. Oh, the nostalgia. 2002, we got Supergirl number 71, which has a bloody cover, and Superman: The Man of Steel number 127. We are heading to the end of this series. Actually, we're not too far from when the book is completely gone. And comic book wise, finally in 2012, we have Supergirl number 10. Have no memory what's this issue is about, and Young Justice number 17. In the real world, on June 19th, Julia Schwartz was born in 1915. Superman 2 was released into American theaters. That's important to point out.
Yep.
In 1981, but more importantly, my wife was born.
Happy birthday to Rachel.
Also in 1981, I might add. And on June 21st, excuse me, Erica Durance was born in 1978. For a second, I thought people would think that I am married to Erica Durance. Now my wife's better looking. And Ron Ely was born in 1938. So when he was playing an elderly Superman, he was the right age for that back on Superboy. So
he was indeed.
And man, he was wearing that Marlon Brando wig. It was really funny. And that is This Week in History.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Michael. Well, as I mentioned, we have a caller who's been waiting very patiently to get on as part of the show tonight. It is our good friend Mark Lax, who rings in each week, or seems to in recent times. Welcome, Mark. Good to see you again.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing well. Yourself?
Not too bad. How's the sound?
Perfect. It's good. There's no clicking.
Yeah, I'm wearing my earbuds.
No, it's excellent. It's working really well. What do you want to? Anything in particular you wanted to talk to us tonight about?
Well, first I want to talk a little bit about the solicitations.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to. I mean, the Warworld saga has been really good. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but it's gone on a little too long, and it is about time that Superman comes back. And and it looks like if you read, for Action Comics, it seems that that it's just going to be a good traditional Superman story. How they're going to reconcile Superman Clark and Superman John, I don't know. What's going to happen with Dark Crisis, and as far as that's going to reset anything, which I really don't think it will. I'm still hoping they get that identity back.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm still hoping that secret identity comes back. But no, I mean, I have to say I've been enjoying the Super books, and I'm just looking forward to what's coming the Action Comics 1050. Ooh, the big
anniversary
1050 issue, the anniversary. Yeah, but hopefully it'll be a good story. I'm just really, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the finale. The Superman and Lois finale.
Yeah.
I've been, like Michael too. I don't mind the hiatus. It just draws it out longer. It makes it a little more exciting.
I'm with you there. I can understand that.
But now I'm looking forward to the finale. The show is great. It's one of my favorite media iterations of Superman of all time, I think.
Cool.
And that might be saying a lot for something that's only been on 2 seasons, but that's how I feel. Up, next to Superman the movie, and but.
Very good. Well, let's have a look at the comic books that are coming out this week, and this is what we have to look forward to. The big one is Batman, Superman, World's Finest, number 4. That is out this week, and it's available in a couple of different variant covers right there. And Michael, it's funny that you mentioned a composite Superman Batman, because he makes an appearance in World's Finest this week. Also available is Dark Crisis Young Justice, number 1 of 6. That is out this week, and that's available in a variant cover right there. There is the 6th and final issue of the Earth Prime Heroes Twilight. This was the book set in the CW universe, which Michael reviewed the second issue, the Superman and Lois one. So I'll be interested to see how this 6th and final one wraps up. And then there's a second printing of Jurassic League number 1. Yes, it sold that well that they needed a second printing. And also out this week is an interesting one-shot, Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen's boss, Perry White, number 1. That is also out this week, which, Mark, you reviewed.
Yes, I did.
It contains some reprints, but there is one new story in there by the guys who did the Jimmy Olsen saga.
Yeah. So, it was fun.
Very cool. This past week, we also had the Superman Celebration videos appearing on our website. So if you wanted to check out the Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum Q&A panel from the Superman Celebration in Metropolis, Illinois, or the George Newbern Q&A panel, they're up on our website as well. You can check those out. There's a big heritage auctions taking place with some Superman memorabilia that is awesome. Some stuff that you would look at and salivate over if you're a Superman fan. There's the Superman Crypto Ray Gun available in this auction. There's also this amazing 1940s statue. There's some real heritage stuff available in this auction that is taking place across heritageauctions.com. So if that's something you want to check out, definitely have a look at that. And there's heaps of other things that we've been reporting on this week at the Superman homepage. We'll cover all those when I do my speeding bulletin tomorrow. So for now, thank you, Mark. It's always great to hear from you, and well done on getting the audio fixed this week for us.
Great. All right, guys. Thank you. Take care.
See you, Mark. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Mark.
There you have Mark Lax. Thank you for calling in. And that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's show. Anything you wanted to touch on, Michael, before we sign off?
Just that I'm totally amused by this Perry White special. I'm actually going to be picking it up just because I think Perry is one of those characters that has gotten kind of forgotten. And because of the generation that I came in the comics where he was so important.
Yep.
It's kind of unfortunate to see that, so I'll be picking that up to see what the reprints are and read the new story.
Very good. Will you also be picking up your Captain Crunch Superman serial this week?
Yes, actually, now that I know where it is, because I kept seeing pictures of it, but no one said that it's at Target.
Yes, Target.
I will be hitting over there because not that I'm a big fan of Captain Crunch, but those are really fun boxes, so I need to get at least a box or two.
There you go. All right, well, that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live and putting up with my very nasally voice this week. Thank you, Michael, for your participation as always.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
And thank you to all our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt and Tina Murray. And thank you to everyone in the live chat there on YouTube. We appreciate your involvement watching the show live tonight. Good to see a fellow Aussie. Trying to get quickly back there, trying to remember tuning in for the first time tonight. So it's also always great to get a fellow Anthony. Thank you for tuning in for the first time. And thank you everyone for watching Superman Homepage Live. Michael and I will be back next week for another edition of Superman Homepage Live on June 27th. Monday, June 27th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Hope you'll join us then. If you missed part of the show, want to tune in again, watch it all over again, you can do so at supermanhomepage.com or our YouTube channel. But as I said, Michael and I will be back for another episode next week. Until then, make sure you check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Bye-bye.